So a really big anniversary coming up soon. As you know, Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma City bomber, executed on June 11, 2001 in Terre Haute, Indiana. Born April 23rd, 1968, just 21 days after 2001 A Space Odyssey was released on 4/2 of that year. And let me correct myself, because it's in fact 2 anniversaries that are upon us. First up, we have the 25-year anniversary of the 2001 film Pearl Harbor, which released on the 141st day of 2001, which of course is 5/21. Remember that 141 equals World War III, Seattle slew, June 11th, etc. And going from McVeigh's execution to the 25-year anniversary of that film, exactly 9,110 days, or 9/11 with a portal, a crown, or just a dropped 0, whichever you prefer. And I don't know about you, but I find this quite fascinating timing, especially with 6/11/2026 just around the corner and all the signs pointing to that date. McVeigh executed on 6/11, the year of 9/11, and being 9/11 days dead on the 141st day of 2026, the World War III, Seattle slew, June 11th number. A pretty big deal, I'd say. And it gets even bigger, but I'll get to that soon, as our next anniversary is coming up. And you can also play around with these numbers, like 1 + 1 is 2, 9/2. The 92nd day of the year is 4/2, which is 162 days before 9/11. 162, of course, 6/11. And 91 + 10 is 101, the 26th prime number, pointing to the year 2026. And 24 + 11 + 10 is 45. Trump, of course, the 45-47 president. 4 + 5 is 9. 4 + 7 is 11. 9/11. And 299 + 10 is 309, or just 39, who died at the age of 39, pointing to the year 2026, Michelle Trachtenberg, as 39 is the 26th composite. And that brings us to our next big anniversary. Because in the year 2001, when Timothy McVeigh was executed and when the World Trade Center went down, on Memphis's founding date that year, which just so happens to be the day after the 141st day of the year, the Buffy episode The Gift aired, all about the tower sacrifice of Michelle Trachtenberg's character, Dawn, by the hell goddess Glory, to open the portal to hell. And from McVeigh's execution that year to the 25-year anniversary of that episode, 9,111 days, our 9/11/01 number. And again, how perfect, because that episode was all about the tower sacrifice, mere months before the actual tower sacrifices, and less than a month before McVeigh's actual execution on 6/11. So the perpetrator, or supposed perpetrator, of the worst homegrown terrorist attack in the United States died on 6/11/2001, and will be 9,111 days dead on Memphis's founding date, 2026, the 25-year anniversary of the Gift Tower Sacrifice episode, and he will be 9/11/0 days dead on the date that equals Seattle slew, World War III, and June 11th. How very incredibly interesting. Of course, 9/11 being the actual worst terrorist attack on the United States. Not the homegrown kind like they said Oklahoma City was, but again, you can't believe anything they say. There were no airplanes or any of that other nonsense. So, just like Trachtenberg was to be ritually sacrificed atop the tower in The Gift, the World Trade Center was ritually sacrificed. And again, that's why I say McVeigh is the supposed perpetrator of Oklahoma City. Who really knows? But isn't this just all perfect timing? With everything going on in the world, and with 6/11/2026 coming up, the World Cup, July 4th, the big 250-year anniversary of the country. Such perfect timing. Especially with McVeigh being executed on 6/11, the same year the towers went down, the same year The Gift aired. Again, this is the 25-year anniversary of The Gift, and the day before it is the 25-year anniversary of the premiere of Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. And get a load of this, because it's also 24 years, 11 months, 11 days. Remember that Washington State was founded on 11/11, and since it's the same number both forwards and backwards, it can be read backwards as the 42. So this is Washington State, as it was founded on 11/11 as the 42nd state. Again, perfect, especially for Memphis's founding date. Elvis's Seattle connections. But that's not all, because February 4th plus 11 lands on February 26th, and Michelle Trachtenberg from The Gift died on 2/26 in the year 2025, signaling this year 2026. A huge sacrifice. Bigger than most people know. And I've been struggling to find time to do videos recently, but I wanted to show this sooner. From McVeigh's execution to 5/11 this year, 9,100 days exactly. That's 91 with 2 portals or 2 crowns or just 2 drop zeros, and who is currently 91 years of age, Elvis. And of course, 5 months and 11 days into the year is 6/11. So this is a 6/11 code, and this is going from McVeigh's death on 6/11/2001. And 24 plus 11 is 35. JFK, the 35th president, you know what happened to him. February 4th plus 11 is February 15th, Seattle Slew's birthday. And don't forget everything that happened on 4/11. The Data statue unveiled in Seattle. The Leo character, Patient Zero, dying on the MV Hondius. Remember that 4/11 is 6/11 on the Roman calendar, and that 4 months, 11 days into the year is 5/11. So it all connects. And if we go to the very next day, May 12th, it's 9,101 days since McVeigh was executed. Our 9/11 again with a 101 pointing to the year 2026, because again, 101 is the 26 prime number. And again, same stuff. 91 plus 1 is 92. 92nd day of the year is 4/2, 162 days before 9/11. 101 plus 9 is 110. There were 110 floors in each of the World Trade Center towers. Remember that Memphis was founded on 5/22. 5 times 22 is 110. Michelle Trachtenberg, born on 10/11. 10 times 11 is also 110. And February 4th plus 11 plus 1 is February 16th, or 216, like 8/4. And of course, anytime you have those 111 numbers, let's do 24 times 111. It equals 2,664, and of course 664 plus 2 is 666. Or you can just look at it like 6 plus 6 plus 4 is 16, 216, 8/4. Also, the Space Needle is 64 in the year 26. Now, going from McVeigh's death to 6/11/2026, 9,131 days. 91 plus 31 is 122. Do you remember this video about golden tempo and 5/22/26? 5/2, of course, is the 122nd day of the year, And 5/2/2026 looks a lot like 5/22, Memphis's founding date, 26. And again, the tower sacrifice episode pointed directly to the year 2026. And I showed in that video how if you go from the gift air date to May 2nd, 2026, when the Kentucky Derby was run, it's exactly the same amount of days as it is from Timothy McVeigh's execution to 5/22/2026. So very interesting that this would add up to 122. And here's your proof if you haven't watched that video. From 5/22/2001 to 5/2/2026, the date of the Kentucky Derby, 9,111 days. Exactly the same as if you go from Timothy McVeigh's execution to the 25-year anniversary of this episode. So yes, what a tangled matrix they weave. Also worth noting that 131 plus 9 is 140, which means if we were to include the end date, this plus 9 would equal 141. Again, our Seattle Slew World War III June 11th number. And by the way, since 9/11 was also the same year, obviously, I decided to see when it would be 9,111 days old, and go figure, it will be on 8/22 this year. That's the backwards 228. Remember, Elvis died on the 228th day of the year, and they've used the 228 date for many things. It was the start of the Waco siege, the start of the Iran War, the end of the Gulf War, etc. And 8/22 is Irina Zarutska's death date. Remember that she was born on May 22nd, 2002, exactly 1 year after The Gift aired in 2001. Again, I ask you, what are the absolutely astronomical odds of that and 9/11 being exactly 9,111 days old on her death anniversary, while McVeigh's death is 9,111 days old on 5/22/2026. Now this of course means 9/11 will be 9,110 days old on August 21st, 2026, the 9/11 with the crown or portal, and that it will be 9,100 days old on August 11th, then 9,101 days old on August 12th. But it has its absolute biggest connection on August 22nd with the girl who died on that date last year and was born May 22nd, 2002. Memphis's founding date, the 1-year anniversary of The Gift Tower Sacrifice airing. Now, with all of that colossal stuff out of the way, I want to talk about Timothy McVeigh some more and some strange connections he has to Michelle Trachtenberg. Take a look at McVeigh's mugshot here. 057. Who died on the 57th day of 2025? Michelle Trachtenberg. 226. And by the way, this mugshot is listed as Government Exhibit 421. We all know the Space Needle opened on 421, and that's also Rome's founding date. Now, if we go from Timothy McVeigh's birth to Michelle Trachtenberg's birth, the big one first, it's exactly 9/11 weeks and 3 days. What happened? The huge attacks on the country, Pearl Harbor, then 9/11, and then, most likely, 6/11, which means 3 9/11 style events. And this is going from McVeigh's birth to Michelle's. I told you Michelle was all about the tower sacrifice. Now I want you to get a load of this one because it's also 6,380 days, or 638, with a portal. Again, Michelle all about opening the portal to hell. Well, 638 just so happens to be the 522nd composite. When did the Gift Tower Sacrifice air? On 522, Memphis's founding date. How absolutely perfect. And remember, it's 638 with a portal, and she opened the hell portal in the 522 episode. Not only was it aired on 522, but it was season 5, episode 22. And 175 plus 18 is 193, which is the 44th prime number, 44 the kill number. And if we go from McVeigh's death to Michelle's likely sacrifice, 8,661 days. 661 plus 8 is 669. Of course, you flip the 9 and it's your 666. I also want to point out that if we were to include the end date, this would be a 662. And 662 is Tupelo, Mississippi's area code. Also connects to Tupac. And in that case, 662 plus 8 would be 670, our 67 Elvis Jesse Water number with a portal or a crown. And I want you to see how this continues to all come back around, because 8 times 6 times 6 times 1 equals 288, which by the way can be 216 because 8 plus 8 is 16. But more importantly, 288 is the 226th composite. And when did Michelle Trachtenberg die? On 226, the 57th day of the year. So again, it brings it all right back around. Now 238 plus 15 is 253. The 253rd day of the year is 9/10. Charlie Kirk. Remember that Michelle Trachtenberg died exactly 28 weeks before the Charlie Kirk incident. And of course, again, that means if I included the end date, this would add up to 254. And the 254th day of the year is 9/11. And remember, both including the end date and not including the end date count. They're all linked together. But this also brings it back around yet again, because February 3rd plus 8 plus 15 is again 226. And it's a total of 284 months and 15 days. Funny enough, Michelle Trachtenberg was born on the 284th day of the year, 9 months, 11 days into the year. 284 plus 15 would be 299. The 299th day of the year is 1026 or 126. Remember, Kobe Bryant died on 126, and his death seemed to be the signal to go ahead with the corona. And that the 126 composite is 165. Trump born on the 165th day of the year. Also worth noting that 284 times 15 is 4,260. 426 with a portal, and April 26th is the 116th day of the year. Our backwards 611, upside down 911. And again, Michelle born 9 months, 11 days into the year. Now check this one out. Going from Michelle Trachtenberg's birth to McVeigh's death, 5,722 days. Remember, Michelle died on the 57th day of the year, 226, and 722 is 611's reverse date. Both of them there in the same line. 57 plus 22 is also 79, and that's Trump's age until just after 611. 5 plus 7 is also 12, and 2 plus 2 is 4. 124. Remember what I said about 124 many times. The 124th composite is 162, 611. And 7 plus 2 is 11, 511. Remember how many days dead McVeigh was on 511 this year. And 5 plus 7 plus 2 is 14, 142. Again, the 142nd day of the year is 522, Memphis's founding date. Michelle, the Gift. 15 and 8, or 158, the 158th day of the year is 6-7, our Elvis Jesse Water number. And this is huge because It's exactly 188 months from Michelle's birth to McVeigh's death on 6/11/2001. Michelle Trachtenberg's name equals 188. Some interesting numbers over here as well. 817 plus 3 is 820. Our 82 Seattle number with a portal or a crown. Also J.D. Vance's birth date. And 156 is the number that connects to 9/11 twice with a 7667. Now we've got even more fun if we go from the date of the actual Oklahoma City bombing to the air date of the gift in 2001. 2,225 days. Our 222 order out of chaos as above, so below number with a 5, which can be a backwards 522, Memphis, founding date, the gift, air date. And 22 plus 25 is 47. While 22 times 25 is 550, our 55 Satan number with a portal. Again, the episode all about opening the hell portal. Now with these triple numbers, I'm always going to multiply them because you always get interesting things. And 222 times 5 is 1,110. Our 111-110 combo. Remember the Space Needle opened on the 111th day of the year. 9/11 is its reverse date, leaving 111 days remaining in the year. And of course 110, I already told you all about the 110s with the World Trade Center and the Gift episode airing on 5/22, being season 5. Episode 22, Michelle's birth date, 10 times 11, 110. And if you say this like you do in most parts of the world, it can be Michelle's birth date, 10/11. 613, the 112th prime number is 613, and the 112th composite is 82. Our Seattle number, our J.D. Vance birthday. Of course, 61 plus 3 is also 64, the Space Needle's current age, and a huge number. And 73 plus 3 is 76, George Bush Jr. birth date, the 9/11 president. 317 weeks, 6 days. 317 is that 137 number. Remember that Final Destination released on 317 in the year 2000, and it connects to both the Space Needle and to Trump. 317 plus 6 equals 323, which is the 82nd day of the year. Remember that Outer Limits episode Patient Zero aired on 3/23 in the year 2001. And of course, if you include the end date, even more fun as you get your 222 with your 226 Michelle Trachtenberg, star of the gift, death date. Pointing to the year 26, of course. And I say fun, but really there's nothing fun about it. But you get what I'm saying. Now 226 plus 2 would be 228, and that's the start of the Iran War, among all the other things I mentioned earlier in the video about 228. And of course here you have your 614 Trump birth date. And 73 plus 4 is our 77 World Trade Center Pentagon number, Elvis death year number. Now let's take a look at McVeigh's last name along with Trachtenberg's last name in a gematria calculator. It equals 188. And Michelle Trachtenberg's name by itself equals 188. What are the odds, huh? Also 98 in reduction. Remember that the 98th prime is 521 and that Timothy McVeigh will be 9/11/0 days dead on 5/21/2026. The 141st day of the year. 141, our Seattle Slough June 11th World War III number. 325 reverse, 325 is the 84th day of the year. 100, the 74th composite, the big 250. Which brings me to that 1193 in Latin, as is the 196 prime, and the 196 composite is 250. 1128 is the 47th triangular, 1950 like the year, but it's also your 195 with a portal. The 195th day of 2024 was Trump's ear clips, Shannon's death date, and 68 Chaldean. Remember that McVeigh was born in 1968. And of course, the gift is the Tower Sacrifice episode on Memphis's founding date. So McVeigh with the gift. How ironic that it equals 142. 142, of course, is 5/22, Memphis's founding date, the gift air date. And we also have 79, Trump's age through 6/11. And 57, Michelle died on the 57th day of the year, 226. And don't forget that Seattle Slew died on 5/7, the 127th day of the year. And with 142, look at the prime, 821. Remember that 9/11 will be 9,110 days old on 821. And again, let's look how these always circle around. 236 in reverse, which is the 184th composite, and 184 is the 141st composite. And 997 in Latin, which is the 168th prime, and the 168th composite is 216, 84, and use both their first names, 177 ordinal. The 226th composite. There's our 228, our 162, our 55 Satan number. And with the 797 in Latin and 1368 in reverse Sumerian, 797 is not only the 139th prime, and 139 is the 44th prime, 44 the kill number, but also the 797th prime is 611-3. And 3 days after 6/11 is Trump's birthday, 6/14. And the 1368th composite is 1626, or 6/11 in the year 2026. Now, Timothy had a sister who was actually a suspect and who testified at the trial for immunity, Jennifer McVeigh. Her testimony was on May 5th, 97, your 55 Satan number again. And how interesting that first name Jennifer, first name Michelle gives us our 888 beast system number, and it also gives us our 284. And again, Michelle was born on the 284th day of the year. We also have our 86. You know what that means. 85 is the reverse date of 5/28, the 148th day of the year. So May 28th leaves 217 days remaining in the year. 217, the weapons number, also the start of the fire horse year. And 85 is the 217th day of the year. 885 in Latin, the 885th composite is 1065 or 165. Trump born on the 165th day of the year. Also 885 is the 731st composite, our 137. 61 is the 18th prime. And I'd be remiss not to mention that 284 is the 222nd composite, so it connects to 222 as well. And given McVeigh's apparently stated motives, or so they say, isn't it interesting that Dawn, Michelle's character in The Gift, combined with Waco equals 84, and our backwards 9/11/01, as well as our 42. And our 33. Isn't it also interesting that Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building equals 162 twice, once with a portal, and our 144 number, which equals so many things like alien invasion, mark of the beast, economic reset, etc. And just Alfred P. Murrah, the guy it was named after, equals our 141 Seattle Slew World War III June 11th number, the date that McVeigh will be 9,110 days dead. Also interesting that just Timothy McVeigh's name by itself equals 177 again. And wait, I showed you about that number a while ago. Its composite is 226. Michelle died on 226. Our 201, like event 201, our 66 twin number, our 162 again, 126 again. This one here is interesting, as it is the 1,425th composite, or 142. Memphis's founding date, the gift air date, was on the 142nd day of the year. Add 5 to that, land on the Golden Gate Bridge's birthday, 527. and 1459 in Latin, which is the 232nd prime, and 232 is the 181st composite, 181 is the 42nd prime. Again, it always breaks down. And again, I'm not going to go through everything, but his full name, 288. Remember, 288 is the 226 composite. Again, our 226. Say this like you do in most parts of the world. That's your 522. Memphis founding date, gift, tower, sacrifice, air date, our 67. And just with the middle initial, 74, 79, 1122 JFK. I also want to show real quick that Oklahoma City in reverse satanic equals 611. And check out all these things that equal the same 133. Oklahoma City, Emily Blunt from Disclosure Day, of course. Donald Watts, he played for the Seattle Supersonics, which became the Oklahoma City Thunder. Hantavirus and Government, all are 133. And by the way, don't forget that Jennifer and Michelle equaled 148.85 in ordinal and reduction, and Jennifer McVeigh, actual name, equals 148.85 in reduction, also our 888 beast system number, our 77. In fact, both Jennifer McVeigh and Jennifer Michelle equal our 888 beast system number. Now, Jennifer McVeigh was born on March 5th, 1974. And get a load of how old she'll be on 6/11/2026. 19,091 days, or 1991. With our going from 2001 dates to dates this year, we're getting our 9/11/01 numbers. And remember what I've shown in the past, that if you go from any date in 1991 to the same date this year, the same exact date, it will be 12,784 days. Our Pearl Harbor with our 84, and this is just after the 84-year anniversary of Pearl Harbor. Not only that, but 19 plus 91 also gives us our 110. And down here, May 23rd plus 6 is May 29th, JFK's birthday. And 52 plus 36 is our 88. But isn't it interesting that this is a perfect mirror, and our 1991? And from her birth date to her brother's death on 6/11/2001, 9960 days. Flip the nines, it's your 666 with a portal. And February 7th plus 3 plus 6 is 216, like 84. Just like March 27th plus 6 days would be April 2nd, 4/2, 162 days before 9/11. In fact, over here, 1,422 weeks and 6 days. That's our 142. Memphis founding date, 5/22, is the 142nd day of the year. The gift, tower, sacrifice, air date. That episode points to the year 26. And on the actual date of the bombing, Jennifer was 7,715 days old. July 15th plus 7 is 7/22. 6/11's reverse date. And 77 plus 15 is 92. Remember, the 92nd day of the year is 4/2, 162 days before 9/11. Not to mention 7 plus 1 plus 5 is 13. 7/13. Trump's ear clip, Shannon's death date. Also, the very first FIFA match was held on 7/13 in the year 1930. And even the distance between her brother's birth and her own birth is crazy coded, because it's 2,142 days. Again, you have your 142 in there. Memphis founding date, the gift, sacrifice, air date. 142 plus 2 is 144, that huge number that equals alien invasion, mark of the beast, economic reset, etc. Or you can look at it like 214 plus 2 is 216, you're 8/4. And don't forget, the gift was season 5, episode 22, and it aired on 5/22, so that was sort of like two 142s. And you'll never guess what 2 times 142 equals. I didn't even know this myself. I never thought to look at this. But 2 times 142 is 284. And Michelle Trachtenberg was born on the 284th day of the year. 9 months, 11 days into the year. Again, She was chosen to play Dawn, the Tower Sacrifice, for a reason. Lo and behold, I didn't even know this one myself until just now. So how truly incredible is this? And this is going from Timothy McVeigh's birth date to his sister Jennifer's birth date. And I've shown the connections to Trachtenberg. Not all of them by any means. There are many. And this is going to be a part 1 because I have much more to show. Again, I haven't had much time lately, so expect a part 2 coming. I did want this video out before May 21st though because of the anniversary. And 510 plus 10 is 520. Include the end date, it'd be your 521. Of course, on 520, if you include the end date, McVeigh would be 9,110 days dead. But he's actually that amount of days dead on 521 without including the end date. And 70 plus 10 is 80. The 80th composite is 110, and 80 is the 57th composite. Michelle died on the 57th day of the year, 226. But yeah, that's not even the tip of the iceberg. I have a lot more to show regarding this. So expect a part 2 very, very soon, along with my other videos that I have coming up. All glory to God, and thank you for watching.